The Artificial Podcast Shorts.
Maybe, to kind of break things down a bit for everybody listening or watching right now, to the extent that you can you explain or talk a bit about the technology that powers Art AI? So we know AI, but maybe you could dive just a bit further to peel back some of those layers for anybody maybe listening or watching right now who's a bit curious.
Yes, I'll be happy to. And I'm going to speak about two separate things. One of the things that I'm going to speak about are GANs, which are generative adversarial networks. It's the technology that comprises like the core of this algorithm that we were using at first. And then I'm going to speak about how we are using and how we used a lot of the engagement that we received from the online gallery, from actual visitors of the gallery, to make the images way better. So starting with GANs, and earlier I said that the first version of the algorithm was nothing like what we had today, but kind of it had the same base. And when we're speaking about GANs, generative adversarial networks, we're speaking about two different AIs that are working together. So for the sake of this explanation, one of them is an AI artist and one of them is the AI critic. And we're starting with the AI critic. The AI critic is receiving from us countless number of art samples. It could be anything, and specifically we used art from the past 1500 years, and we made sure, of course, that everything that we allow the critic to view as a human critic is something that can basically be or look like human art for any other human that will look at it, because it is human-made art. And by inspecting these tens of thousands of different artworks at first and hundreds of thousands of artworks later on, kind of get a special style. The critic now understands how art should look like, and it gains the ability to judge whether a piece was made by a human or not. So it knows how to grade artworks based on how they look like, because it has a chance to view so many of them.
Yeah.
The AI artist, on the other hand, doesn't get a chance to look at any human-created art, doesn't know how art looks like, doesn't know how anything looks like. The main and only job is to create a new design, send it over to the critic, and try to get the highest grade possible, because the critic grades paintings based on how, if it thinks that it looks like something that a human will make. So in the beginning, it's just a blur of colors. It's a lot of pixels. And obviously, the grade that it gets is very, 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 very small. And here we are starting this process of actually improving the AI. So in a process called backpropagating, the critic gives several different inputs, several different outputs to the AI artist, which it translates in order to change the neural network, change like the weights that comprises the neural network. Obviously, there's like a big black box in the middle that we can't really understand what's going inside. But the thing that happened is that several parameters are being used then by the artist to change the weights, change how they respond. So the next time it creates an artwork, the next time it creates a design, it's going to be a bit more similar to something that a human will make, and a bit less big mess of colors and pixels. And after about few tens of thousands of times, instead of being a big blur, it's starting to get some artistic elements inside it, some shapes, some colors that make more sense, figures. And as we progress, as more cycles are passing, the artwork is becoming more beautiful and more engaging, and accordingly, the grade that the critic gives to the artist becomes higher and higher and higher. Now, that's not supposed to happen in the eyes of the critic, because the critic needs to be really, really good in knowing what was made by humans and what was made by AI.
Right.
So same thing here happens with the critic. If the critic accidentally gives a good grade to the artist, it backpropagates same way, so he will know how to change the neural network. So the next time that he gets like a good painting that was created by an AI, the critic will be better in judging this artwork and still know that it was created by AI. So what we have is an artist that is becoming better and better in fooling the critic by making better art. And we have a critic who's becoming better and better in understanding when the artist is trying to fool it. So So the standard is always going up.
Hey there, artificial podcasters. Nick Myers here just to say don't forget to smash the subscribe button to stay up to date with all of our latest episodes and new content. You can also listen to full episodes of the Artificial Podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, and Anchor.fm. If you or someone you know is interested in being a guest on the show, visit us on the web at www.theartificialpodcast.com. Thanks for watching, and see you soon.